it's an incredible journey that's happened. And, it's a privilege to be able to talk with you tonight and to encourage you that you don't have to be a doctor to know that this is the biggest breakthrough in my medical career, the biggest breakthrough that all of us can offer to people for their health and their financial well-being. I mean, there's nothing that pulls it all together like this does. But I'll give you a little bit of a background on my journey.
Yeah, absolutely love to hear how this came your way, how you, and the impact that this has had with your family, because I know it's had a pretty significant impact.
It sure has, Bart. I was cruising along, trained at UNC Chapel Hill, for those that like basketball particularly, the Tar Heels. Traded for another shade of blue, Duke University for medical school. And I set up my practice here in Rocky Mount. It's a faith-based practice. We started out very small, and as was said, we have about 70 employees now. We do an awful lot on site. During my career, I've been, for just about the entire time, associated with teaching medical students as well. So it's been a varied career. I don't deliver babies, except in an emergency. But we do everything else. And as Ed said, I tried to be prevention-minded, holistic in care, but quite honestly, being my background of training, it's primarily pharmaceutical-oriented. I knew a little bit about some natural products here and there. I have always believed in exercise, tried to eat properly, but don't always make it there. But so I'm cruising along, and life happens to people. And that's one of the things you have to remember. Life happens to people. And I would have never heard about Asea except for a health challenge in my grandkids. And they had been involved with some tick-borne illnesses. But in various degrees, they had various challenges. Now, you can imagine as a grandfather, but also as a doc, I kind of felt really out of place. I couldn't help them. They were trying all sorts of traditional and then went to non-traditional alternatives. But it all came to a head 2 days after Christmas a few years ago. We had just seen them. They had just been here visiting us. And then I get a call. I'm ready to see my patients for the morning. And I get a call from my daughter, and she tells me about, at that time, he was 13 years old. And she told me the symptoms. And I said, they live out in the country, way, way out. And I said, get him in the car right now, drive him. I knew where the nearest hospital was for kids, and get him there immediately. Now, they went and did that. Within an hour or two, they had transferred him to Duke, my alma mater. And for the next 5 weeks, he's in the hospital. He died twice. You never want to be the case that everybody talks about on their medical rounds in a training hospital. You never want to be that case, but he was. And when he left the hospital, he had many, many, many challenges. He couldn't speak, he couldn't swallow, and he couldn't walk. He would face plant. And literally on the weekends, my wife would go up during the week. I would go up on the weekends to help him. And talk about being frustrated. It was very frustrating. Well, we'll fast forward a few months later. The family's having to make some major reroutes of what they do in the house and so forth. And they're trying all sorts of alternatives, burning through their money. The husband, the father of the boy, he's a middle school teacher. So basically, they're running out of money. They're running out of hope. And he's having difficulties. And then the other kids had other issues also going on. A friend in high school, and this is how important it is for all of you to understand this. One person, if one person breaks this chain, I don't hear about this. Hundreds and thousands of people are not affected in a positive way. This is how important one person is in telling the story. But a high school friend, she reached out. She said, hey, I need prayer for my family. I need prayer for my son. We're at wit's end and so forth. A high school friend reaches out to her, says, you know, my mom has a brain problem and she's doing great. The doctors actually at my alma mater again, it's given her a death sentence and she's still alive and she's doing great. Now her brain problem is a little different from your kids, but it's a brain problem. And she's drinking this stuff. And we think that this is what's keeping her alive and thriving. Here, I want you to have some. Well, it sat in their pantry for a couple months because it was just another alternative. And they were burning through everything else. And finally, they said, you know, maybe we should try this stuff. And within a month or so, 6 weeks for sure, big changes started happening. And they started happening in the other kids as well. And Ed and Rebecca played a big role in this because they got them some of these bottles. So now when you have a family, they have 9 kids, they've adopted 3, 6 biologic. When you have that many kids, there's always a birthday somewhere at some time. And so it was right before Labor Day. We were going there to celebrate 2 of the kids' birthdays. And Anna said, hey, would you mind, the kids are, you know, they're responding to something and it's doing great. I'm going to get teary here. Would you mind hearing about it? And I said, well, why should I worry about, you know, why should I mind hearing about this? So we go through the birthday party and then there's this tremendous, you know, this is where I met Ed and Rebecca, Paula and Fred Logis, and Dick Walker zoomed in. He was the doctor zooming in. So, and I'll never forget this. You know, they're talking about all this stuff, and I'm listening to it, and they keep mentioning redox signaling molecules, and I'm thinking, you know I know about one paragraph from my training, which was many years ago, about redox signaling, you know, about radicals and so forth. And all the explosion in this has occurred in the last 15 years or so. And so I'm busy in a practice. I don't have time to be doing basic science research. So I'm sitting on this big couch where I usually play with the kids, except that evening, I'm getting down into the couch. I'm sinking. I want to get down so deep because I knew someone was going to ask me, well, Rich, tell us about this. Is this really good stuff or what? And I wasn't prepared because I didn't know anything about it. But folks, you've seen this book, and then I bought, you know, this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and that one. And believe me, you don't have to do that, but I did because of my training. I had to. And I will tell you, one of the great things about Asea for anyone, you don't have to be a doctor, is that it stretches us all. It stretches us in knowledge. We want to grow in our knowledge about things. And whether it's how to relate to people, how you use Genie, how you do different things, you know, how you work with teams. I mean, it's a stretching process, whatever that knowledge is that wants to grow. But this is not a stagnation business we're in. That's exciting. Now, for me as a physician, it's doubly exciting because it got me looking into something that I didn't know about these molecules. Well, I will tell you, folks, this is so amazing what we have This company, we're blessed beyond our knowledge, because what we have is unique. It touches every cell in our body. I can tell you, I've seen it work in many, many, many circumstances. And it's amazing. So my journey has been punctuated by that. Now, you're wondering how this young man is doing. Well, he's running races. The only kid that can beat him is his older brother, who's going to be probably, I think, an Asea athlete one day.
Wow. That's
College coaches are looking at his brother. He's beating adults in races, but the boy that was so severely impacted, he can't quite beat this older brother in races.
wow, that's a pretty big change.
Yeah. And my daughter would say this: Asea has given her back her family.
Wow. Going from face plants to winning races is a pretty big difference.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. That is such an impressive story.
What's one of the things you mentioned that really struck me is the fact that you talked about that chain of communication. So had somebody not said something along the way, then your family could potentially still be very much suffering. So that to me really stuck out, because that's really what we're here for, to take this cause to the world, help people. So yeah, amazing story. Thank you.
And kudos to you for being open-minded enough to really grab a hold of this and to do your research and to say, I need to know about this. There must have been a little bit of a interesting transition in your mind to say, whoa, I need to I need to learn.
Yeah, in fact, I kind of felt like Saul of Tarsus. I took a sabbatical for a little while and had to go do this research. And then finally I said, I better start telling people about this. And I really wanted to do that. And it's been a blessing to engage folks and to help them along the way.
How big do you see this breakthrough? I mean, all the years at medical school and now all the research, all those books that you've read and gone through, your experience you've seen with your own family, how significant is this stabilizing of these molecules in your mind?
Well, this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is, some of y'all might not understand this. I think this is God's gift to us. The means and the modality to have actually found this, stabilized it, and to move forward with it is absolutely breakthrough. It's game changing. This is a game changer. Whatever sport you're in, there can always be a play that just absolutely turns it on its head. And this is it for us. This is it in terms of my lifetime. This is going to be it. I can affect more patients in a positive way. And folks, you don't have to be a doctor. That's the great part of this. You can have more effect than many doctors do, because actually many of my colleagues are closed-minded. They have blinders on, okay? They have a God complex. We, think we know it all. But I can tell you, again, this has just opened the door for me to think about this and its place. And there's no drug-drug interactions, folks. I mean, all these things happen in millionths of a second. And all we have to do is get people on it. I mean, honestly. And, I think of it as a Swiss Army knife. Oftentimes the right tool for the job is what makes the job go easy. And if you have the wrong tool, your job is going to be very difficult. But this is tool, because it works all over the body, in every cell. I mean, it has a ubiquitous ability to help people in all sorts of areas. So, no drug interaction. I don't have to think about that. It's just a wonderful product to have, and we have it in our hands now. I mean, Now, I am excited. I'll have to admit this. At convention, I was so excited. I think I was the first person that started clapping when they announced that they're going to be pursuing more research. Now, do we need more research for these products? No, we don't need it, but I welcome it, and I would love to be a part of it. So we'll see how that comes down. But at any rate, I'm just excited. So Bart, I'm sorry to have gone on and on here, but I'm excited about this. It's literally giving me a chance to give hope where people have lost hope medically, and where I am frustrated. You know, doctors can be frustrated because we sometimes know we don't have an alternative. We don't have an alternative. And now I have something that I can give to patients. I mean, I will tell you, using the Renew Gel in the room with people who are hurting chronically, and I'll just say, you know, hey, I want you to try this over 5 minutes. I will put it on first time. You put it on 2 more times. I'll be right back in 5, 6, 7 minutes, and let's see how you do. And it's just amazing, you know, the looks on people's faces as they can move their hands, their digits. I mean, they love it, and I love it too.